Okay, so you are in love with someone that does not love you back. Of course, it will be, different variations. You might think that they do, but definitely in the back of your head, you have this innate surety that it is unrequited. Well, unrequited love. What is it? It's the fact that you have this appreciation for someone who does not reciprocate that very appreciation back to you. Well, or rather, you have this certain type of fantasy, or you want to carry out a certain type of relationship, and there is some excuse of something on the other side, or basically, they're all signs, clear signs that that kind of a situation will not occur with the person that you love unrequitedly. Yeah, I think a lot of people look at unrequited love as this sort of pathetic waste kind of thing. Why are you even in it? You must love yourself first, blah, blah, blah. But I think some empathy must be employed in this situation because you don't exactly feel like you can control it. You want to control it, but you cannot. It sort of comes out of you. And well, when something comes out of you and it flows towards one direction where you're barred from, you can easily start to feel resentment not towards a person that you love unrequitedly, but to your own self, your own soul. It sort of tarnishes your soul. An analogy whereby one can understand why this happens is, well, what happens to stale water? What happens to stale water when stale water is left by itself? Algae is formed. The water is spoiled. It turns green as anything else. And well, that's why did that happen? That's because the water's stagnant, and that's kind of what happens with love itself. When it's stagnant and it's there and it cannot flow, but you will try to flow. You will stalk the Instagram account. You'll do all sorts of things for this thing to flow. But when it does not, it just comes back to yourself and it turns into resentment towards your own self or the other person. Point is, I wanted to talk about the quality of unrequited love, why it exists, what is the reason why you can't seem to get out of the loop. So when I was a bit younger, I think I was in a stretch. I was in a long, not few years, maybe like 2 years. I was somewhat in love with someone, and just remembering the quality, the nature of it. There's a lot of things that I've learned because it was such a peculiar sort of setting for me. Someone you knew that this is unrequited. Why am I still in this? And it's not something that I can control in my head. It's more, it's more like it comes out of me. And for what? Now, what I realized from that experience is unrequited love is a very lazy form of love. And this is a key to understanding why it lasts as long as it does within you, or you're as stuck as you are. It's a lazy kind of love. Now, why is it lazy? Well, it does not feel lazy. You're doing all sorts of things. And, there's always these daily efforts, I guess. I'm not sure. Whatever. The reason why I'm calling it a lazy form of love is you don't exactly have to deal with the other person. Not viscerally, not in the not on the psych space. When you have a conversation with another person, you don't you don't need to know their history. You have this fluid moment, like, in the moment conversation. That's what I call the psych space right here. You don't have to deal with any of that. And when you don't, what I mean by that specifically, the brunt of the thing is, you don't exactly have to deal with the person's psychology completely. As in, you don't have to deal with the fact that they have a bunch of probably some issues, or not just issues, the climate of their psychology is something that you don't exactly have to deal with. Although you'd want to, you think, but because of the nature of unrequited love, the very distance, you don't exactly have to deal with the person's inner psychology, their climate as a person. Every day, you don't have to do that. The fact that they're far, they're far, and then you can sort of claim love. Now, this is another part of why it's a lazy form of love. It's the fact that you claim to be in love, which is a very, people often get it wrong. They think we have a need to be loved. There is also a need to love. Now, this need to love is fulfilled by the fact that you love the person. But it's lazy in the sense that you don't actually have to deal with the things that come in love, which is to sort of learn to negotiate, learn to compromise, learn to empathize, learn to understand why they do the things that they do, and how can we manage as two separate individuals? How can we manage us as a unit? You don't have to do that. Now, see, that is the thing that I'm talking about. You don't have to exactly manage the unit. You're just feeling the things that you feel. And this is why unrequited love can be a very convenient love. It can be a very convenient love in the sense that you can claim to love. You don't actually have to do any of the work that comes with being with another person. You don't need to have the hard conversations. You don't need to know how to manage emotions, how to give across, like how to put across your emotions effectively. You don't have to deal with any of that. So this is why, unrequited love is such a persisting phenomenon, because it's easy. And at the end of the day, it mainly, because of this nature, because there is another part of you that wants this love to sort of ensue completely, to become a whole, because of that stagnating nature, you hurt yourself. Your soul gets tarnished. But yet it is continued. Some people have serial unrequited loves, and that's probably the reason why. It's a mechanism to avoid something vividly real with another human being.